Some guys are lying, manipulating pieces of, I ain't even gonna say it. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible, wreaking all kinds of havoc, causing all kinds of problems, damaging so many women. But here's the thing. I need you to understand and see the signs when a guy is playing you so that you can avoid this type of man and so that we can break these negative cycles, because it creates all kinds of issues for you, for future relationships, and so on. All right? So let's get right to it. And this is in no particular order. But number one, he always turns the tables on you. So let me give you a story real quick. All right? I remember one time there was a guy I knew and he was dating this woman. And to my understanding, he was doing his thing on the side, right? And one day, I guess the woman found out. Maybe a girl called her or she saw messages somewhere. I don't know. But she found out. She calls him on the phone. And at this moment, he's in my presence while he's on the phone, while she calls him. So now she's arguing with him and they're going back and forth and they're yelling, boom, boom, boom. Well, she's mainly yelling at him. But before you know, I start paying attention. He starts screaming at her. Now he's yelling at her. And so now they're going back and forth, back and forth. But by the end of the conversation, he's the more dominant one as far as attacking, arguing, yelling, cursing. And I can tell that she has now become more docile. And so by the end of the conversation, this man hangs up the phone. He looks at me. Mind you, he was just all in a rage, right? He looks at me and he falls out laughing. That is just a perfect example of how some men will manipulate the situation and turn everything on you. All right? So you caught him doing something wrong, but somehow it ends up being about you. He lied to you about something, but now it ends up being about you. He's acting inappropriately, but now he's accusing you of acting inappropriately. Men who are playing games, these types of men, and let me make it very clear, not all men play these games. Not all men are doing this nonsense. So do not project this onto all men. But are there men who are behaving in this dysfunction? Absolutely. And those men are very good at turning the tables on you, making it about you. They have learned how to successfully take the spotlight off of them and put it on you. Now understand something. A guy who's serious about you I'm not going to sit here and say a genuinely good dude has never gotten defensive, all right? I'm not going to say that a genuinely good dude who loves you has never inappropriately threw something back at you when you attacked them. But that's the key word. If they felt attacked, then yes, it can set the stage for that. And that's why it's always important, why I always encourage you guys to express yourself in a more calm manner, to not attack, even though, yes, some addressing certain issues can be labeled as attack by people who don't want to have to talk about it, who don't want to have to own up to it, all right? But you have to be honest with yourself when you know you came with the right energy versus you lashed out and attacked. Because sometimes you're accusing, and in some situations, he may have not done anything wrong. So his retaliation is because he feels like he has to defend himself, all right? But I don't want to deviate too far from the main point here, because many of you have experienced or seen when the man is intentionally turning the tables on you. And when he does that, when he is unwilling to own what you want to address first, then that's a huge problem. And that's definitely a sign of a guy who's playing you and a guy you need to stay away from. Second sign that he's playing you or playing games with you is that he's extremely vague and doesn't really answer your questions. Now, again, I always say the man who wants to love you wants to bring you peace and clarity. The man who does not will bring you confusion and chaos, all right? And so when you start to notice that this man does not give you straight answers, and many of you have experienced this, where it's always a dancing around the question, or he goes off on a different tangent. Somehow he finds a way to deflect, or as I mentioned, number one, he'll just turn the tables on you. But at the end of the whole ordeal, he's answered nothing. At the end of the whole ordeal, you receive no clarity. Now, here's the messed up, well, the extra messed up part about this. is that I've seen so many women, even after not gaining any clarity, continue to act like the relationship is fine. Like, and when I say to act like the relationship is fine, she may not be happy, but you continue to be his girlfriend, or you can continue to pour into him, you continue to give him what he's looking for when he can't even give you clarity. That's a problem, all right? If he is robbing you of your peace, and again, it's one thing when you are getting in your own head and driving yourself crazy, overanalyzing and coming up with all kinds of different scenarios, and you haven't even talked to him yet. That's on you, okay? And we got to work on that. But when you try to talk to him and he can't give you a straight answer about nothing, and again, it's one thing to have a specific touchy subject that maybe he has a difficult time talking about, all right? I try to always be open-minded to different possibilities. But when it's a consistent behavior of vagueness and lack of clarity, nah, he's playing games. He's probably hiding something, and this is an unhealthy situation you need to run away from. So now we get to number 3 on this list of signs he's playing you or playing games with you, is that he says sorry, or he's quick to say sorry, but he changes nothing. All right? How many times have you seen where there are some men who have mastered sorry? All right, they will sorry you to death. All right, sorry all day long. Oh, give me another chance. I've changed. It's gonna be better. They have no problem saying this to you. But the minute you guys get back to being together, dating, whatever, it's the same old thing. Now, please understand there's a difference between him actually making the effort and then not keeping that up. And please, before you jump on that, because you might be saying, how is that different? Because if he's not keeping it up, then he's still not being genuine. There is a possible other reason, which I'll get into later in the video. But we're talking about he says sorry and goes right back to the same thing. And again, many of you have either lived it or you've seen it. And this is clearly a man who's playing games because he's clearly figured out that sorry, the word, is enough. That acting like, okay, I get it, it won't happen again, is enough. That he does not have to back up his words with actions because you don't hold him accountable. And so he's already coming in playing games, but you're accepting the games that he's playing. And this is a problem. So of course he shouldn't be doing it, but you can only control what you can control. And that's you recognizing, okay, if this man can say sorry to my face and then still go back and do the same thing over and over, he's not serious. He needs to go. End of story. And let me say this, because you know I'm always about addressing issues. But this is a perfect example where you've essentially already addressed the issue. If he said sorry, it's because you went to him about the issue. He knows the issue and he did not fix it. That's it. Done. We're over. We don't need to keep playing this game because then you're only going to play yourself even worse. Next on the list, he is full of excuses. All right. This man got a damn excuse for everything. It's like, it's never just owning the situation. It's never just, my bad, I need to do better here. It's always, but because this or because that. Excuse, excuse, excuse. Now, let me throw this out there. It is possible that the man who's making nothing but excuses isn't trying to intentionally, maliciously play a game. And let me say this. A lot of these things on this list, because there's 2 types of men. There's the man who's intentionally, maliciously playing games. Actually, there's 3. There's 3 types of men in this scenario. There's the man who intentionally is playing games, manipulative. He does not care about your feelings. He's just trying to get what he wants, and he's going to maneuver however he has to get it, all right? Then there's the guy who is not maliciously playing games, but is very immature, does not understand the issue, has not evolved enough as a man to be able to have a healthy relationship. So he's not malicious, there's not a malicious intent, but he's still engaging in nonsense that needs to either be corrected or he needs to be let go. And then there's the third type of man, which I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into this a little bit as we go along, but the third type of guy who plays games sometimes not out of malicious intent, And yes, we can say a lack of maturity, but this guy actually has real feelings for you, but is taking a very misguided approach to playing the game, all right? So put a pin in that. I'm going to break that down further at the end, all right? But I want to put that out there because going back to the whole him being full of excuses, it's not always this guy just trying to BS you over and over again. Some guys just haven't grown up yet. Some guys haven't taken personal accountability. Some guys don't understand how they need to show up better in a relationship, all right? But regardless of whether he's man 1 or man 2, we're going to leave man 3 alone right now. You don't need to entertain it. You address it, and if all he's going to keep giving you is excuses, game playing or immature, whatever, he needs to go. Because subjecting yourself to that is only going to create a toxic environment. It's only going to make you unhappy. It serves no purpose, so there's no reason to continue if they're going to continue to engage in that behavior. All right, so now let's get to number 5. And just so you know, I mentioned it earlier, there's 9 on this list, all right? I had a bigger list than 9, but I'm just going to focus on these 9. So number 5 is he acts like he doesn't care, all right? So this is where I mentioned to you man number 3, the man who actually has feelings for you, but is taking a misguided approach. Let's start with him first, and then I'm going to get into the other kind of man who acts like he doesn't care. I've seen a lot of situations, and as a woman, if you're honest with yourself, you've either possibly engaged in this yourself or you've seen other women do it too, where people, because maybe they're feeling insecure in a relationship, because maybe they feel like you're not giving them the attention that they want, because they want to make sure you're serious about them, sometimes will try to act aloof, try to act like they don't care because they want to get a reaction out of you. They want to see, are you really into me? How will you feel when I pull back, essentially, all right? This is not healthy. I don't condone it. I don't encourage it whatsoever. But I have to shed light on the fact that I've seen this happen from people who genuinely were into that individual. But again, we're given misguided advice. I've seen women tell men or women tell other women, and some men do it. I've seen men do it too, where they tell them, oh yeah, man, ignore her for a couple of days or ignore him, but it's about how the men behave right now. So ignore her for a few days or whatever, basically let her come after you and blah, 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 blah. And again, he's playing this game. He is playing a game, but it's not with the malicious intent that the manipulator, the liar is doing. It's a very different intention, very different thing fueling this action, all right? So because of this, when someone is acting like they don't care, and this is where we go back to, again, we don't cut people off, we address first. And that's why it's so important, because I do think that sometimes people take a very general approach to certain behaviors and just, okay, well, they do this, end the story, let them go. And it's like, listen, there's a lot of different emotions going on in people. Think about, again, I think it'd be easier for you to grasp it for those who may not be grasping it just yet. Consider if you were that woman who felt like your man hasn't been showing you that attention, or you don't know where he stands, and somebody tells you, okay, girl, just ignore him for a couple of days. And you might go with that because you're vulnerable and you're just looking for answers, all right? Would you prefer that man just cut you off because you acted like you didn't care? Or would you have preferred that he would have said something? Now, again, I don't encourage you to do this. I prefer that you don't do it at all, right? I'm simply saying and shedding light on the fact that there could be a deeper thing going on with you. And if he just talked to you, it can be easily addressed and corrected. Same thing if you just talk to him, that's something that can be easily addressed and corrected. So that's something to consider, all right? And again, just having a discussion can uncover what's going on there. But then there's the other side. And that other side is some men use the I don't care tactic because men have been fed the belief that basically you got to treat her like trash. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to act like you don't care. That puts you in a more powerful position that'll make her want you more. And the sad reality is that a lot of men have seen that work. a lot of men have seen that when they took their attention away, that it gained more attention from the woman. What people aren't realizing is that if the goal is a healthy relationship, that's not the way to go about it. That's not sustainable. She's just reacting in that moment. But what's going to happen later? And what stage have you set? But again, some men are doing it for the purpose of basically being able to manipulate you, having more control, having that quote unquote upper hand, but not with any deeper good intention. And again, I say deeper good intention to kind of reference back to the example I gave earlier, the man who actually cares about you, but is being misguided in his approach. But again, acting like he doesn't care is a game that some men play, but definitely an issue that needs to be addressed before we just react and cut people off. All right, so now we get to number 6, but before I drop number 6, let me real quick, yes, He's Lying Sis, get your copy. Click the link in the description or in the comments section. I'm not going to say much. People are loving it. Just get yours. You're going to love it too. So number 6 on this list is that his compliments come with criticisms. All right. And so essentially, you all may not have experienced this, but there are situations where a man gives these backhanded compliments, these, well, this looks nice, but this looks like trash. Or like he has to always follow up his giving you any kind of praise or pouring into you with something negative. All right. And so it's a tactic that some men use that, again, psychologically, is literally a mind game, that can draw a woman in. All right. And so that may not make any sense to some of you. Like, why the hell would a criticism after a compliment reel me in? Well, consider this. When you can create insecurities in someone, you can make them feel like they should be happy that they even have you. You can make them feel like they're not going to do any better than you. You can make them feel less than to make you feel superior. You can essentially gain more control over this individual, which is why in a lot of toxic relationships, the man or woman, whoever the one being toxic, will try to basically verbally abuse and beat down that person's self-esteem, because now with you having lower self-esteem, I can keep you under my control a lot better. I can have my way with you a lot easier. If you're too damn confident, you're not going to tolerate certain things. If you know your worth, you're not going to accept my behavior. You know what I'm saying? If you understand your value, you may realize I'm not the one who's good enough for you. So I got to change that by knocking you down a few pegs. And so that's where you'll see that. And so if you notice a man who always have to throw criticism with, and hell, sometimes it's not even that he compliments first and criticizes. Some dudes are just criticizing, knocking you down, knocking you down, knocking you down, knocking you down. That is a game being played. That is psychological warfare, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And it's extremely unhealthy. So be very mindful of that. The man who cares about you, who's serious about you, should be wanting to uplift you. Now, let me just say this, because it kind of hit my spirit. Please understand the difference between being negative and critical and constructive criticism. All right. So it's one thing to be like, I can't even think of a criticism right now because I don't have a negative mind like that. I'm just a positive person. But I lost my train of thought. But the point is, what I'm saying is, if you're with a man and he tells you, for example, hey, I think you could do this better. Like, that's not him trying to knock you down. That's him trying to make you push you and inspire to be a better woman. Understand the difference between someone trying to attack you and break you down versus someone who is, yes, he may be critiquing something, but he's doing so for your own good. All right. And I'll tell you this, the critiquer that's doing it for your own good is going to give you ways to improve it. He's going to help you in elevating yourself. The one who's giving you criticism to knock you down, he's just going to critique you and just leave you there. That's it. Because he's not trying to have you rise up. He's trying to bring you down as low as possible. All right, so now on to number 7. And number 7 is He throws other women in your face. All right? So remember what I said earlier. A man who really cares about you wants to bring you peace and clarity. The one who does not will bring you chaos and confusion. So to throw women in your face, essentially trying to always make you jealous or trying to always compare you to other women, which goes back to making you feel insecure, knocking you down. When he's intentionally doing this, that is a huge red flag. And that is a huge sign he is playing a game here. Now, again, I do think, I gotta always throw these things out there. I do think that if two people are dating, I have seen situations where, let's say two people like each other, they're not sure where each other stands. And again, with misguided information, they say, oh yeah, you know what, let her see you with another girl. All right? And so he does this not because he wants to make you jealous in a way to make you insecure for just manipulating you or knocking down your self-esteem, but because he's trying to get you to want him more. Or he's trying to get a reaction out of you. And again, it's a very immature, misguided approach, all right? That can happen. But what I think I can say with confidence, no, I can say with confidence, is that guy who's doing it for that reason, number one, he's not in a relationship with you yet. He's trying to, and it may be a one-time thing, all right? Or he's just going about his business and maybe you see him with other women. I'm talking about the guy who's the toxic, unhealthy, flat out playing the game. He's intentionally and he's constantly doing it. He's constantly comparing you to other women. He is constantly throwing other women in front of your face. He is constantly trying to make you feel some kind of way. That is extremely unhealthy. That's a problem. And for him to especially do that when he's in the relationship with you already, there's no excuse to be made. There's nothing else I can say about it. It's just bottom line, he has a serious freaking problem. And you don't need to subject yourself to that kind of behavior, that kind of environment. It is unhealthy. Again, I'm going to always say address before cutting off. But if it's not immediately corrected and he continues this nonsense, then he has to go. All right, so now let's get to the eighth sign he is playing games with you. And that is he shuts down whenever you try to address something. All right. Now, listen, I recognize there are some men who struggle with opening up and talking about things. And I also understand that depending on how you approach the person can play into whether they will shut down or not. People are not going to be receptive if they're feeling attacked. All right. So again, we have to always start with approaching the situation correctly. But if you do, and again, it's a consistent thing whenever you want to talk about issues and real feelings and all this stuff, this man shuts down and deflects. He is playing a game. It's almost like how they say, like if a bear comes, if you just stand still, the bear will go away. It's like the guys think, okay, if I just shut down and act like whatever, she'll leave me alone and we'll go right back to acting like nothing ever happened. And that's the game plan. The game plan is just get through this moment so she can just leave me alone and we can go back to normal. But that is so unhealthy. You cannot be with a man who's not willing to talk to you, all right? Who's not willing to discuss deeper issues. Communication is such a huge part of a relationship. It can't be ignored. And so even if he's the guy who simply struggles in that area, well, then he needs to fix that. Because trying to have a relationship with him when he's unwilling to communicate is going to create all kinds of problems, as well as it will only enable him to believe that he can continue to behave in this way. Why would he, if he has any deeper struggle, why would he face those issues if you're going to continue to be his woman, pour into him, and give him all that he wants? There's really no incentive to face those tougher obstacles in order for him to open up and communicate more. So you've got to, again, address it. And if it's not corrected, end it, because that's unacceptable. But when it's especially someone who's just flat out shutting down every single time, he's playing games. And now we get to number 9, but I do have a bonus, all right? You know, I got to throw a bonus in there sometimes. But number 9, and this is kind of just a big general one. His words and actions do not line up, all right? So you know how they say actions speak louder than words? And I agree with that. Actions do speak louder than words. However, if the words and actions are not consistently lining up, there is still a lie being told or a game being played or an issue at hand. And let me give you a perfect example of how you can't just use the actions alone. They got to be able to do both. So in the book I showed you, He's Lying Sis. All right. I have a scenario where I lay out, he doesn't want a girlfriend, but he acts like your boyfriend. And so in this scenario, it's very easy for a woman to get confused because his actions say, I want to be with you. His actions treat you like his girlfriend and does all these boyfriend things. And you're thinking, oh man, we're good, right? But his words say, I don't want a relationship. His words say, I am not going to commit to you. His words say, you are not my girlfriend. So you can't simply say, well, his actions speak louder, so I'm going to go with that. No, it's still a problem. Because if he was truly being genuine all the way around, or at least if it wasn't going to, if he's going to give you clarity, if he's going to be someone who is not wasting your time or unable to give you what you truly desire, he'd be able to both say and show you that you are my woman, that we're in a relationship, that I am committed to you. All right. So that's just one example. But the bottom line is there's so many examples of where, yes, sometimes he can say one thing, do something different. He can say something good, but his actions are bad. Or he could give you some good actions, but his words don't line up with it. That's still a problem. And again, even if it's not him being a malicious game player, because all of this is not about sometimes a man just trying to maliciously play a game, but it's a man who is unable to give you the peace and clarity in order for you to have a healthy relationship. In order for you to even have a healthy dynamic, because who the hell wants to deal with confusion even in a casual situation? All right. I'm not saying jump into casual situations. I'm just saying like confusion anywhere is unsettling. It's a problem. So please understand that if his words and actions don't line up, we got a problem. And again, address it. And if it's not corrected, let him go. But I said I have a bonus. And that quick bonus is this. Make sure you're not the one playing games. Now, here's the thing. Don't get defensive, because here's what I've noticed. I have seen tons of situations where women are analyzing, critiquing, whatever, the man's actions. Oh, he's playing, he's lying, all this. But then when we evaluated her actions, it was like, but you're doing the same thing. You're not being honest. You're not being transparent. You're trying to get him jealous. You're being a little manipulative. You're playing games too. So listen, if we don't want people playing games with us, we should not play games with them. So please do not assume it's simply about the man not playing. No. Are you holding yourself to that standard? Are you setting the stage for transparency, openness, clarity, and all these things? Because I can tell you this. The minute one side plays games, the likelihood that the other side will, it has increased immensely. Bottom line, even if they did not come into the situation wanting to play games, what happens is in trying to navigate through yours, they end up playing theirs. And so it just becomes a very unhealthy relationship. So please, please, please don't play the games yourself. But again, when you see these issues, address it. If it's not corrected, you know what you gotta do? Let them go. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. If he's a man, he'd probably love to have some sex. I'm just saying, that's just for a lot of guys, right? But that doesn't mean that every guy only wants you for sex. The thing is, how do you know?